Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm looking forward to spending some lovely crafty time with you. Now today in my calendar I'm on May, and as you know I'm just working through the months as they come. Can't believe I've got to May already. Special month for me. It's my birthday. Anyway, what I tend to do is take my inspiration from the little design at the base of the page, and as you can see we have our lovely feline friend. Now don't forget, if you're not joining in with me and creating a calendar, it doesn't matter, because this would make a lovely design to go on a card or in your journal or your scrapbook. Or it might be it gives you a little bit of inspiration to mix it up a bit. You might want to stamp our beautiful, and I think this is the elf in caps mushroom, and you might want to pop a fairy on there. Or what about a fox? Again, it might just give you a little bit of inspiration. The corner here, I'm thinking, could be transferred to a Christmas card. I just wanted to give my cheeky mouse something to hang from and a reason for my cat to be looking. And at the top I've used Luka. So like I say, lots of ideas and inspiration. Might be you just want to do this little part as a card. I know a lot of you are into making smaller cards, which again is fine. I mean, really, this could be 2 separate card designs. So let's get started. Now, one of our lovely friends and followers, I'm just going to put this up here so I can see, because maybe me, I will forget what I've done, was asking me about my low tack tape and how I get it straight. And I've got to be honest, for me, I just use, now, I'm not sure if you can see this. As always, there's not a lot of space on my desk. Can you see the top of that? This is my Lavinia. I know it's right inside, so I know this is my Lavinia low tack tape. And I tend to use the actual, I mean, you can use the markings on your Lavinia mat, but for me, to get it straight, I just go off either the binding here and just do it as it falls, or here, I've gone off the top of the days. Now, some of them, as you know, I've put masking tape down the side, and again, I just go off the side of the actual calendar. This, I'm going to go right to the edge for this design. I put a couple of pieces of copy paper underneath, just for me, so if I go off the edge, I know it won't go onto the month underneath. And also for me, as you know, I like to just fold a piece of copy paper and just pop it on here, because I've already decorated the base of that. But even if I hadn't, I don't want to get, and as we know, you can get stray little, those tinkers, we get ink, we can get pencil, all sorts on there. So if you just cover it up, that's a good start. Right, so I'm going to come in first with my elfin caps and just stamp the lovely elfin caps mushroom here to the side. And again, I can lean on here. And I'm just going to use my black, my VersaFine Claire, the Nocturne. So I hope you're keeping well and this week started well. It's always good to start a Monday, isn't it? Nice positive attitude. And I'm just going to pop this, I want it sort of straightish here. And I love, as you know, you've seen me do this before, I love the fact we can do our mushrooms and florals, you know, growing up, hanging down. But for me, I'd just like to put another twist. It's value for money, you see. I like good value for money. And I'm thinking if I can stamp sideways as well, it gives me another reason to use that stamp. Right, so in with Luka. And this is good. I love doing this at workshops because it's like a bit of a competition, isn't it? Can you get Luka sat on that branch or stem? I mean, of course you will, because I know you. You're all fabulous. And you know what? If you don't, we've got a fine liner, haven't we? So I'm going to come in. Looks like I might have a bit of glitter on Luka, but anyway. So I'm going to pop Luka there. Now, if Luka ended up being stamped too high, you just take your fine liner and draw a little bit of a larger bottom. For me, that's just a sign of getting older, a larger bottom. but it's very on trend these days to have a larger bottom. Now, like I say, I noticed when I was inking up, I've got a bit of glitter or something here, but not to worry. Don't worry, we can get over that. That will just be where I had my white pastel pencil for my highlights. So not a problem at all. So what I want to do now is I'm going to stamp some foliage in this corner. And for my foliage, I was looking through my stamps and I found my lovely Cedar stamp. I didn't want anything too heavy for this design. And I wanted a smaller stamp because I am mindful you've got this here, the spine. So I'm thinking I'm going to come in with one there. Now, I have been asked about the card in the our lovely calendars, and it is 300 GSM. So, I mean, it's beautiful. It's got the qualities of multifarious, but for me, I think it's a wee bit thicker. It's fabulous. It takes water well. It takes ink well. Just going to have one more coming in here. And then I think there's one coming down there. It is funny, even though I've already made the design, I tend to cut a piece of card and make my design first, just to give me an idea how it's going to go. But also, if you're worried about stamping directly in your calendar, it's a great way of almost having a practice run. And you know what? I do think as well, worst case, if something was to happen here, you can always, if you've already made one, you can always glue that on top, mat and layer it on top in here. Nobody would know, because we wouldn't tell them, would we? Now I just want a little coming in there. No, I think, oh, go on, let's just, I'm not sure if I'll get it there. Oh yes, just a little. And I like that shape there. So I just want to mirror that in this corner. I'm just going to move it round a little. Now you could use another colour VersaFine Clay if you want. I'm just going for the black. I just want to keep all my stamping in the black today. I don't know about you, I have days where I feel like using lots of colour, days where I don't. Now, how far down? There we go. So I'm thinking maybe that. The good thing about this stamp is you can change the direction that you stamp it. It is lovely. It's nice because it fills quite a large space, but it's almost quite open. So it's not very heavy, it's not very dark. Now I think I just want these two popping up there to bring, and just a little bit more up here. Possibly going a bit higher than I did on my original. But I like that shape. Let me just turn it round so we can get a better idea. And again, I've got those opposite corners. Right, so like that. Now, I want something for my lovely cheeky little mouse to hang from. So I thought I'd use, I know it's not Christmas, but my Christmas charms. And this one, I'm thinking, could be almost like a ball of wool. Or, I mean, I think they like baubles, they like balls of anything, don't they? So, I mean, this one, I've gone for the one with the star in. So it could even be an Easter hanging, or just a lovely hanging little trinket. So I'm thinking, now I need, I'm possibly thinking 3, but I might just have one from there, and this one that I'll put the mouse on. So I think I'll do that. So depending where you've stamped your foliage, obviously depends where your charm will hang. Now again, if I'd copied my original directly, I'd know exactly where, but obviously I haven't. But I'm thinking, so if I have this one coming direct from here, that's the one I'm going to stamp my mouse on. So I could have one from here, couldn't I? But I don't want it that long. So I've got a little scrap of my copy paper. And today, look at this, I just keep over inking. Must be having one of those days. And I know if I stamp with that, I'm going to get that on my work. So I'm thinking I need one sort of there. So if I put my copy of paper there, just stamp that there. Again, you can alter the length. So I'm thinking one up here, yeah, and then that's a nice. So it can be just coming down here. Yeah. So, time for my lovely cheeky mouse. Now, I do believe this one's off the Tilly and Tango set. Now, again, it could be that our lovely cats are just looking at the baubles hanging, thinking, I'm going to get that. Or you could stamp one of our lovely berries. So, let's see, and I just want his paw up there on the top. There we go. I love the way that we can just create these fabulous designs and almost tell a story. I mean, I did think the other day that, you know, your calendar, if you wanted, you could actually tell a story and use the same characters and just have them up to something different on each month. So it could be that you could use the cheeky mice and actually run through and have them in every month, but getting up to different antics. Or it might be you are an owner of a cat. Although I believe cats have servants, don't they, not owners. And it might be you want to stamp a cat on every page. So I've got the basis of my little design there. So I'm going to come in with a stencil. As you know, I love stencils. I really don't think we use stencils enough. And I'm going to come in with confetti in our elements, just because it blends really well. And I'm going to add some stencil work in the middle. And the wide taupe stencil that I'm going to use has got larger circles at one side than the other. So to ground, I'm going to have the larger circles at this side going up to smaller up there. And I'm going to be mindful not to go over the edges, but I just want my stencil work more in the middle. So into the ink and then into the lid, as we always do. And then just gently, gently. Again, I'm being mindful not to go over the edges. Just want to add a little bit more interest, and I just thought the circles just went ever so well. They could be orbs. They just, for me, reflect the circles of those lovely hanging baubles. Oh, I like that. I think that's enough, actually. And I'm going to save that stencil, spritz it with water, and use it on one of my lovely tags. So now some mermaid, just to add a little bit of colour around the edges. Now it could be, if you like your confetti, you just want to darken the confetti around the edges. But I just want to add another colour. I'm going to come in with the mermaid. And again, inking up on the corners. And then just drag that colour. Again, ink up on the corner. You can go right across there. Last corner again, most important, just blend it in the lid. Just means your ink will start blending better on this lovely card. It'll just be that bit more forgiving. Across the top, and this will just frame it beautifully. Now just want a tiny bit more down here. Again, just when we're talking about that framing. Lovely. Now, what I do want to do is I just want to add a little bit of water to faux bleach that ink in. So I've got my fan brush. in my water pot, and I'm just going to direct it to the corners, just on that blue. Really, it's just the blue. I want to just add a little bit more interest. Now, if you're not a fan of this technique, I would get one of your lovely sentiment stamps and just stamp the sentiment in there. But for me, I just want my lovely, and I'm just going to leave that. I don't want it to go completely white. I just want it to activate a little. So while that's activating, I'll get my pastel pencils and get the white and just add a little bit of highlight. And again, just give it a smudge, just to add some lovely shape. And then our lovely Luka here, look. Now, that little white bit where we had the glitter, you watch, it'll disappear. And for me, that's a little bit more forgiving than if I'd have come in with a black pen. Sometimes you can see the black pen. So for me, it just happened it was in the right place, look, for my white highlights. That's just my pastel pencil. But with my fine liner, I will add a couple of movement dots for my lovely. So look at that. And on Luka's tail, look. So obviously Luka's tail's wagging. Right, so now, yeah, that's just distracted me long enough, look. I'm going to block that. And then I'm going to add some colour. So I'm going to come in with a couple of my lovely Kuretake clean colour pens. And I'm going to use number 60, the brown, 24, the red. And I'm also coming in with my red Wink of Stella. And the reason for this is I love the red Wink of Stella for this. But I want to add a little bit of shade. So I'm going to use the brown for the deepest of the shade. And then blend in some red. And I just want to give some shape to this. And then come in with the red Wink of Stella over the top, and it'll blend the Kuretake pens beautifully. But also it will just add that lovely red sparkle. Now there are lots of different colours of the Kuretake Wink of Stella, so do check them out. Now again, the same on the baubles. So I'll just come in at the base. And again, it's just about, I could colour them just red, but I'd rather add a little bit more shape and sort of dimension if I can. Again, it always go quiet when we colour, don't we? I love it when I do workshops, you know, after lunch, it's lovely getting the crafters to do colouring in. I'm just going to lean on this because I don't want to smudge what I've just coloured. And again, just over the clean colour pens, and it'll just add the colour, the sparkle, but you get that bit of shade, that bit of depth. But you've never known me go as quiet, have you? Got quite a collection now of these Wink of Stella. As you know, I do love the clear. I use that a lot for my Wink of colouring, but it's so nice to see so many other crafters doing the Wink of colouring as well. Look at that. And you know what? I'll try and show you the sparkle, but hopefully we've got a little bit. As the Wink of Stella dries, the sparkle gets even more. So I'm going to add a little bit of green to the stem here. Any of the greens, I just happen to pick up number 41 light green. But then I'm going to come in with my gold Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to go over that. And it'll still be green, but it's got a gold tinge. And then also, I'm just going to add a little bit of gold just here and it's sort of, it'll go with the green, it's almost greeny gold, and I just want to feather out this beautiful cedar. And it'll just add a little bit of interest, a little bit of sparkle, and I'm almost following the lines that Tracy's drawn and feathering out, look. So you'll get more at the base where it's darker, and look, just, I don't want to do every single one, I don't want it to be almost full coloured in. Just want that hint. They almost look like little umbrellas, don't they? Again, you see, I do think sometimes, you know, if your mojo goes, you start crafting and you'll actually craft yourself ideas. So because I've got the gold, I'm just going to go over the chain as well on our lovely hanging. Now again, remember, if you wanted to elongate this chain, you can stamp it upside down so the chain meets, or even draw a little bit extra on it. So they are useful, you can make them larger or smaller. Look at that. So happy with that. I love that. I hope you do too. Couple little finishing tricks. I'm going to use my yellow sparkle Posca. Again, because I've got the gold tones. Now, if you're doing obviously a Christmas design, your white Posca would be beautiful. And I'm just coming over the floral areas, around the opposite corners. And again, just hitting it here, just gentle tapping. And then lastly, with my lovely Signo, and look, I've got a few of these, and this was the new one I got, so I've written new on it. Just want to check it's working. Just going to add a couple of highlights there, little tip of a nose, or his nose, a couple on here. Don't want to overcook it. I do think these finishing tricks, you know, you don't need a lot. Just that little bit makes all the difference. And then what I will do is just come in with my heat tool. Now, do excuse the noise, but this will do two things. It'll help just dry the card, but also it just helps that low tack tape. I've said this before, you know, the Lavinia is fabulous low tack tape, but for me to just come in with my heat tool before I take it off just ensures that it will peel off beautifully like that, look. And if I take, see, I like the way that I've got the ink on my copy paper underneath, so I know it hasn't gone onto the card below. So finally, I want my lovely sticker. And I'm going to come in with I'm brave sometimes. Because I think that's what my cheeky little mouse is going, I am brave sometimes. But I think I might just change my mind and go home. Now, the question is where to pop it. On my original, I had it there. But do I actually want it over here? And then we've got the eye looking from, but yes, I'm thinking. I'm going to go for there. And again, just using my scissors so I get choice. So there's our top design for May. And if I just bring in, and there's the base. So again, at the base, I've just added a little bit of pastel pencil underneath. And I've lightly just carried on that stencil work through, look. So it's not too heavy, you can still write on there. Now, don't forget, if you've got special dates, maybe put, you know, what you could do is use your stencil and highlight. I'm thinking, you know, my birthday, you could put the large, and actually, I'm not telling you what date it is, but you could actually highlight and put a bigger pink. So I might do that on mine. Little hint, hint. But I hope you've enjoyed that. So there's our finished calendar. And like I say, if you're not joining in with the calendars, please, you know, it's lovely to spend time with you, but also remember you could make, just take part of the design, part of the inspiration. and create yourself a lovely little card or a tag. And you know what? Wouldn't it be lovely if we could all just make an extra special card and send it to somebody just because? Not because it's the birthday or because they're down, but actually just because we care. That would be lovely. I'm going to do that. I'm going to send one to a special lady that I know. Now, I hope you all do the same, because do you know what? If I just make one person smile and you make one person smile, imagine how many people we can make smile. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? So you take care. I'll pop back again tomorrow. Sleep well. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.